What is socially accepted when you are beautiful but not accepted when you are ugly? Perhaps not entirely what the question asked, but I need to get this off my chest. About 10 years ago, I was asked to come in for an interview for selling Bose speakers at one of their B2B outlets. It was an entirely professional deal, and the HR guy on the phone could not stress enough how important knowledge about sound systems was. So I go in and only one other guy shows up. We assume they need more people, so we both fancy our chances. Only thing is this guy has no idea how speakers work, no idea what or who Bose is, and displayed a generally carefree attitude. At least he was wearing a shirt and not a polo with his jeans and sneakers. I get called first, and my interview went on for over 30 minutes, getting grilled about all things imaginable and then some more. I was pretty confident about the material, 'cause I knew that stuff, and I thought it went really well. So I come out and this guy is bricks because he did not realize this was a serious job interview. We had built up some rapport while waiting, so when he asked me if I could wait for him for some moral support, we were headed back to the same area too. I said okay. His interview lasted 5 minutes. He walked out with an offer letter. All they asked him was his name and his background. I was politely asked to reapply after 12 months. This guy was equally confused. He was not a scumbag, in fact, he was a really nice guy. But even when you are selling high-end conference room sound systems to people who have no time to even listen to your pitch, Bose wanted good looks over skills. Did I mention this guy looked like a cross between Christopher Reeve and Elvis Presley? Just being nice in general, lol. When I was in high school there was this guy named James and everyone always blasted him for his appearance, how annoying/creepy he was, etc. I tried to be nice to him but I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed his presence. One day in class I was talking about how I felt insecure that day and he said don't feel that way. You're beautiful. And I said thank you but everyone else around us laughed. A more attractive guy in the same class called a friend of mine beautiful and everyone says ah. So sweet. You guys should date. I dunno what happened to James after high school but I hope he's doing well. Nobody deserves that kind of treatment. Conversation/small talk I guess. This just happened recently to a friend. Matched a girl on Tinder who looked very attractive from her photos. They had hour-long phone conversations and day-long texting conversations. Went to go meet her for the first time and he felt catfished. Apparently she was much larger than the pictures led on. I told him you gotta expect that a bit but he says it was a crazy amount like he felt tricked. Anyway, after knowing she was not very attractive, he said she was awful at conversations, very boring, asking the same repetitive questions to not let a conversation die. Looking back on his old texts, she was always awful at conversation, him too tbf, but he was never bored when he thought it was a really hot girl asking about his day at work or his college program etc. Edit, my friend doesn't Reddit so I'll show him this comment thread tomorrow haha I wonder what he'll think when he sees 8,000 people read his story, sorry man. Bad at your job. Truth. I worked with a guy I called Fabio. He was early 40s with kind of long wavy hair, handsome face. Looked like someone modeled a statue of a Roman general after him. Guy was terrible at his job. Every time I went to his desk he was watching movies. When he left we discovered 6 months of work he just straight up didn't do. He worked hard for about 2 years, built up a reputation for being a good worker and then promptly coasted on that reputation and his good looks. Used to do that hair flip thing when talking with women and they'd practically go all Elvis fan over him. I've seen this work out, though. I was working in a small IT shop where we hired interns from the college next door to work at our first level help desk. They were generally computer science students, but we also had some information systems kids from the business school. The boss hired one such girl who was absolutely stunning, but had almost no knowledge of IT at all. Since she couldn't really help anyone with a computer problem, she generally just answered the phones. But the amazing thing was that when she asked someone in the department, everyone else was male, either intern or full-timer, to go take care of an issue, they would jump at the chance. Help desk calls, which used to be the absolute worst part about the job, became an opportunity for some socially awkward males to interact with a beautiful woman. Ironically, having hired someone who knew next to nothing about the subject at hand, the help desk never ran better. People fought over who could take tickets. Customer service went through the roof. When her semester of work was over, everything went back to how it had been before. Exactly. I worked with a guy who was basically an adult Pugsley Addams. Dude was ugly. Oddly enough had a very attractive wife. Came in one day to find out he had been fired for his, I thought, innocent "you look nice today" style comments had apparently made the women in the office feel uncomfortable. Never mind the fact that he was married and just being nice, emo. Meanwhile, 2 rows away a different colleague had slept with half of the eligible women in the office, and flirted shamelessly to the rest. Not only did they put up with it, they brought him Starbucks. Only difference, he was attractive. Edit getting a lot of questions about how do I know, and there must have been more going on. I don't want to give too much detail here lest I be identified, but I had a close relationship with HR. She told me the whole story personally, which I know she wasn't supposed to do. Even after hearing the whole story, I still think he was basically fired for being ugly. To give a somewhat serious answer, boasting of your prowess. People are psychologically more inclined to believe someone good-looking is skillful at whatever they're claiming to good at, despite no evidence. In fact, there's something called the halo effect that says along with beauty come all sorts of other positive characteristics. We have a tendency to think beautiful people are funnier, more friendly, more intelligent, more exciting, in possession of better social skills, are warmer, are more interesting, poised and even more independent. I think it's good to be aware of that. Like if we assume a beautiful person we know is as kind as Mr. Rogers, we can remember to keep an open mind about them and treat them the same as if they weren't beautiful. Also, we can remember someone who isn't good looking could still be smart, kind, or talented. Maybe they're not, but we should wait until we know more to think that. Non-beautiful people like me need the benefit of doubt. I like to generally assume everyone's nice, so maybe kind wasn't the best example. It could be any trait people consider praiseworthy. I read articles on the internet a few years ago about bias toward attractive people, so this thread and the one from r/took stromosomes that made the front page remind me of them. They were interesting to read and pessimistic, but I guess I should be the change I want to see in the world, right? Being weird. People will tolerate a great deal of weirdness, strangeness, and psycho behavior from an attractive person, whereas these traits would be unforgivable in an ugly person. There was a social experiment conducted where a catfish profile of a beautiful blonde was created. When guys talked to her, the catfishers responded with the most weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, creepy answers, but guys still kept pursuing. People will tolerate a lot of weirdness if it comes alongside hotness. It's being quirky vs being what's wrong with him/her? That's my beef with quirky characters on TV. The attractive ones are seen as cute and special, and the unattractive ones are seen as basically inappropriate freaks a la Amy from The Big Bang Theory. But if she looked like Kaylee Cuoco, she would likely be a whole different character. Literally just existing and talking to people. There's a guy at work named Sean. Sean is unfortunate looking. He's a redhead, he's balding, yet his sides and back are pretty long, he doesn't cut his nose hairs, he's constantly red/pink, pot-bellied, and yeah, he kind of lingers around your desk and talks a bit too much. Problem is, we all kind of do that, you know, overstaying your cubicle visit or whatever. Everyone at work thinks he's creepy. They all think he'll shoot up the place or maybe will eventually be banned from entering a school zone. TBH, Sean is a sweet, nice dude. He's your nerdy, 40-year-old virgin type of dude. He's got a lot of friends, from what I can tell on Facebook, and practically zero work friends. He plays on different softball and bowling teams, goes out to bars with his friends, and from what I can tell, seems perfectly normal. I talk to him every so often and he's a really nice guy. I visited his desk and he said I was the first person to visit him. He started here maybe 6 months ago. It's very unfortunate for him that people think of him this way. I know for a fact that if he was skinnier, had hair, and wasn't ugly that people wouldn't think he's creepy at all.